one of the most shocking incidents in Brian McClair's career has to be when he kicked Nigel Winterburn. It was a heated moment, the kind that happens in the intensity of a football match, but it stuck with fans over the years. Even today, people still bring it up as one of those aggressive on-field clashes that won't be forgotten anytime soon. McClair has never been a stranger to controversy, and one of the most talked-about incidents in his career happened during a fiery match against Arsenal in October 1990. It all started with a late tackle that set McClair off, and instead of just brushing it off, he repeatedly kicked Nigel Winterburn. That moment quickly escalated into a full-blown brawl involving players from both teams, creating absolute chaos on the pitch. The fallout wasn't small either. Both Manchester United and Arsenal faced serious repercussions, making it one of the most infamous clashes in English football history. But even long after his playing days, he hasn't exactly stayed out of the headlines. More recently, he's been caught up in a completely different kind of controversy, this time with Gary Neville. The two have been going back and forth over who really chose "This Is the One" by the Stone Roses to be played at Old Trafford before games. McClair insists that he was the one who picked the song, while Neville claims otherwise. Now, while this is nowhere near as dramatic as an on-field brawl, it has still stirred up quite a bit of debate among fans and the media. It's one of those light-hearted football disagreements that people love to weigh in on, and it's kept McClair's name in the conversation in recent times. But controversy isn't the only thing that has kept people talking about McClair. His appearance has also been a big topic of discussion. Over the years, he's undergone a bit of a transformation. Gone is the clean-cut footballer look, and in its place is long grey hair and a thick beard that makes him almost unrecognisable to those who once cheered him on from the stands. This change in his appearance has actually led to some pretty funny moments, with people failing to recognise him in public. He's even shared some of these stories on his podcast, giving fans a glimpse into what it's like to be mistaken for just another guy on the street. Just like he had a talent for stirring up controversy in his own unique way, his career too was anything but ordinary. His football journey began when he joined Aston Villa, straight out of school in 1980. At the time, Villa was the reigning Football League champion, but despite spending a year with the club, he never got the chance to play a competitive game. Deciding to return home to Scotland, he signed with Motherwell in 1981, where his career truly started to take shape. Initially a midfielder, his manager Jock Wallace saw something special in him and converted him into a striker, a move that turned out to be a game-changer. During his time at Motherwell, he showed glimpses of the goal-scoring ability that would later define his career. In 2 seasons, he found the back of the net 15 times, including a hat-trick against Rangers in a 3-0 victory in January 1983. Not stopping there, just 11 days later, he scored twice in a win over Celtic. These performances put him firmly on the radar of bigger clubs, and by May 1983, Celtic came calling. Managed by Billy McNeill at the time, they saw McClair as the perfect replacement for Charlie Nicholas, who had just left the club. Though McNeill resigned before McClair even played a match for Celtic, the young striker wasted no time in making his mark. His debut saw him score in a 2-0 win against Partick Thistle, and by the end of his first season, he had racked up an impressive 32 goals. When Mo Johnston arrived from Watford the following season, McClair quickly formed a deadly strike partnership with him. Their contrasting styles worked perfectly, and together they helped Celtic win the 1985 Scottish Cup, with McClair coming off the bench in the final to play a part in the victory. A year later, they lifted the Scottish Premier Division title, after a dramatic last-day victory over St Mirren, where both McClair and Johnston scored twice. Despite the highs, McClair's last season at Celtic in 1986-87 was a frustrating one for the team. They let a 9-point lead in the league slip and finished without any trophies. Individually, though, McClair was in the form of his life. He scored a remarkable 41 goals, winning both the Scottish Football Writers' Association Player of the Year and the Scottish Players' Player of the Year awards. His performances at Celtic caught the attention of Manchester United, and in July 1987 he made the move south for £850,000. The transfer fee was decided by a tribunal after negotiations between the clubs dragged on, with Celtic initially demanding £2 million, while United offered just £400,000. McClair wasted no time settling in at Old Trafford. In his very first season, he scored 24 league goals, becoming the first United player to hit 20-plus league goals in a season since George Best in 1967-68. That campaign saw him score a hat-trick against Derby County, multiple braces, and crucial goals that made him one of the top scorers in England. Unfortunately, his missed penalty against Arsenal in the FA Cup led to United's exit, but overall it was a fantastic debut season. The following season, 1988-89, was more of a struggle. McClair was now playing alongside Mark Hughes, who had returned from Barcelona, and while much was expected of the duo, United's form was inconsistent. A run of poor results saw them finish mid-table, and McClair's goal tally dipped. He and Hughes both finished with 16 goals in all competitions, but it wasn't enough to challenge for silverware. One of the most infamous moments of McClair's career came in October 1990 during a fiery clash with Arsenal. After a late challenge, McClair completely lost his cool and repeatedly kicked Nigel Winterburn while he was on the ground. The incident sparked a full-scale brawl involving almost every player on the pitch. The fallout was serious. Manchester United were docked 1 point, while Arsenal lost 2. The tension between McClair and Winterburn actually had history, as Winterburn had famously mocked McClair after his FA Cup penalty miss a few years earlier. Despite the controversy, McClair played a key role in United's resurgence. He was part of the side that won the FA Cup in 1990 and the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup the following year. In 1992 he scored the winning goal in the League Cup final against Nottingham Forest, helping United lift another trophy. When Eric Cantona arrived in 1992, things changed for McClair. He was moved from his usual striker position into a deeper midfield role to accommodate Cantona's attacking brilliance. He embraced the switch, playing a vital role in United's midfield as they won the first-ever Premier League title in 1992-93. As United strengthened their squad with new signings like Roy Keane and Andy Cole, his playing time became more limited. He was still a valuable squad player, popping up with important goals, like his strike in the 1994 FA Cup final against Chelsea. Over time, he became a fan favourite, not just for his contributions on the pitch, but also for his humorous Chalky's Diary column in the club magazine. His long service to the club was recognised with a testimonial match against Celtic in 1997. By then, he was mostly coming off the bench, and at the end of the 1997-98 season, he was granted a free transfer. He briefly returned to Motherwell before calling time on his playing career. After retiring, he quickly moved into coaching. In December 1998, he became assistant manager at Blackburn Rovers under Brian Kidd. Unfortunately, their spell in charge was short-lived, as the team was relegated and both were dismissed within a year. He returned to Manchester United soon after, working with the club's youth teams. In 2001, he was appointed reserve team manager and enjoyed immediate success, winning the Premier Reserve League in his first season. He later guided the U19s to an FA Youth Cup victory in 2003. By 2006, he had taken over as the club's Director of Youth Academy, playing a key role in developing young talents. In 2015, McClair took on a new challenge, becoming the Scottish Football Association's National Performance Director. However, his time in the role was short-lived as he stepped down in 2016. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.